Hey everybody, welcome one, welcome all to the Jerkmonger Show. I am your host, the Jerkmonger, coming at you live from the cockpit. It's a weird word too, right? That's a really weird word. Every time I say stuff like the Jerkmobile, cockpit, dirty, from the captain's chair of the Mongamobile. Anyway, welcome to Morning Muses. This is where I get to kind of just share a little bit of what's on my heart, what's going on in my mind, in my life. And I had a very clear version of that today. Very interesting conversation with my son, thinking about life as I continue to try to aim to coach him and teach him about life. I can't help but think that there's so much more to, man, that sunlight is bright. There's so much more to that I still need to work on, and we all need to learn, that maybe you guys can benefit from. So that's why I like to share this stuff with you guys. And I just did a time-lapse video of me working on the DOOMKICKER cover, and I made a comment about me feeling I had some interesting emotional, not just physical, but emotional backlash from my experience last week in the hospital, having some problems with my heart. And it really affected me. It kind of became like an issue of depression. And, me not being comfortable with what's going on with me and all that jazz. I wonder if I can, should I do this? Does that help? No, it doesn't help. And I hate having stuff in my face. Anyway, the context of all this is that experience, but really it's about what I was talking to my son about this morning, about perspective. Perspective. What do I mean by that? Well, it's the way you see stuff. It's what you choose to be your filter. I think that's really where what I'm getting at. What is your filter? What have you decided is the way you're going to look at your life? This is like that conversation: is the glass half empty or the glass half full? But it's a little bit more than that, as far as I'm concerned. It's not about being positive. It's about understanding the world you live in and what you can affect and what you can't. My life has been a series of choices that I've made that have been very, well, every choice you make is a deliberate choice. There's no accidental choices. When you make a choice, by nature, it's deliberate. And an old mentor of mine used to say that, used to compare life to like an ATM machine. And depending on the code you put in, that's what the result will be. What you put into it will determine the outcome. And that you have the power as a human being to influence your own sphere of influence, whether it be the world you live in, whether it be your circle of friends. And I was telling my son that that power is the same whether you have influence or power over a circle of friends or an entire nation or the world. And I told him, I said, power is not dependent on the scope. I mean, that might be a measurement, but that doesn't mean you do or do not have power. It just means that we all have power to affect change based on our perspective. If you are always a victim, you will always be victimized. If you are a bigger thinker, if you're a critical thinker, you can change the way you see the world around you and and make choices based on that perspective. So I could either look at myself, and I mean, I had a great conversation with my cousin last night. Actually, I was telling the story about my situation in the hospital so often that I realized I hadn't really dealt with the emotional baggage that came with being close to affecting or facing my mortality. And so here I am today, because of this conversation I had with my cousin. All I could think of was like, man, my life feels, I genuinely felt like my life was in shambles. But actually it wasn't. I mean, I'm on the same path that I've been on for a while. But that one little thing, it just took a hold of my life. It just ruptured my confidence. And thankfully, with some prayer and support from my man Al, it jogged me back to normal. It was so powerful, man. Just taking a moment to reevaluate, to think about the things that are true. I mean, that's what I'm trying to tell my son. My son's trying to change the mountain. He's like, I don't want to do stuff. Like, well, you can't not do stuff. That's not the game. Right? We talk a lot about learning the rules of the game so you learn how to break it. That's a perspective talk. That's a conversation that comes from empowerment. And you're not going to always be empowered by others. That, I think, is the problem. Some of the problem with our culture today is everyone needs to be empowered by someone else. So everyone needs to be what is it that Zach calls it? I need to be reinforced by everybody else. So I forget. It's all the characters now. They're all being positively enforced. Oh, you're so awesome. You're not going to always get that. So what you need is to have a stability on something more solid. You need to be stable on a foundation that's solid. And that solidity, that stability comes from truth. And it comes from the ability to look at the truth around you and then make choices based on the truth. Not on what you want people to tell you, not on what you want people to say, not on what it doesn't matter how many likes you get on a post. It doesn't matter. Are you comfortable in your own skin? Are you making choices based on the reality around you? The choices when you're in that state of depression, or you just feel like less than what you really are, you make foolish choices. I was explaining to my son, he's immature. Reality is, most of our culture is very immature. We're being babied and we're being stroked and we're like, hey, it's gonna be okay. You're perfect. You're amazing. No, some of you are not amazing, but you can be. No one is perfect, but you can be excellent. And that's really kind of, a lot of my talk comes from the same place, because I think everything is tied together. I think the way we interact with each other, the way we interact with the world around us, is predicated on how you see yourself. What is it about? What is the truth you're believing about yourself? Is it a made-up truth, which is no truth at all? It's like, if you understand the truth about your limitations, then you know what to work on, right? If everyone's telling you you're great and you don't need to work on anything, well, then you won't. If your filter is someone else and what they say about you. But when you're a bigger thinker, all the big thinkers, I tell this to my son, instead of looking out and seeing everyone around you and saying, what's wrong with them? The question that big thinkers ask is, what did I do wrong? What's wrong with me? What can I change about myself that will affect the world around me? So that's the code for the ATM I mentioned earlier. How you interact with the world around you. What do you you going to keep yelling and screaming and fighting and backbiting and murmuring because you're not getting what you want? Or do we change the game and start looking inward and saying, maybe I need to make some changes. Maybe the reason why that person at work is so hostile to me is because of the way I am projecting. Maybe the reason why my wife is angry is because of the way I talk to her. Maybe the reason why my kids are responding to me the way they respond is because I'm not doing the steps that I need to do as a human being, as a father, as a husband, as a friend, as a brother, as a son, or as a wife or daughter, whatever. I'm not doing the things. What can I do better? That is bigger thinking. That's what we need. That's the perspective we need to take. What can I do better? Not just guilt and shame. By the way, that's a fine line between guilt and shame and what can I do better. What I mean by that is sometimes what we mean is I suck. And that leads to depression and discouragement. I'm not talking about that. This is, again, I'm talking about empowerment. I'm talking about you addressing the challenges. They're just obstacles, guys. Your life isn't over. Make a new choice. Make a fresh decision. And change. Change the world around you by being the first step of change. When you do that, man, then all of a sudden the activity you were doing, which seemed mundane and seemed boring, all of a sudden becomes your mission. When you change your perspective, the drudgery of your daily job becomes your ministry. What if we thought more like that? When you change your mind, you can do anything. You just gotta choose. There's a famous passage in the Bible. It's perfect for our time today. Be not conformed to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. I'll say that one more time. Don't be conformed to the pattern of this world. This world wants you to tell you them how great they are. It's all about false propping and making them feel good about themselves. That's the pattern of this world. This world is falling apart because of that. Because we've got a bunch of kids who have no idea how to stand up against the challenges of life and demonstrate the mettle that they were designed to have. Don't be conformed to that pattern. Everybody does that. But be transformed by renewing your mind. Choose today. You choose. Make a decision for yourself. Make a decision to improve. Make a decision to make the world around you better. Even if you can't change the earth, you can at least change your world. That's it. That's my message today. That's my morning muse. Hope you guys had a great, hope you guys have a great day. Thanks for listening to me. Check the links below. Yeah, I'm excited about the future again. I'm ultra excited about the future. All right, guys. Later.